to What the Film. Today, we are going to be starting kind of a new episode format a little bit. So when I was in my first semester of my freshman year, I started this podcast, Popcorn Premieres, where Ethan was then the co-host in the second semester. And then
I'm Ethan, by the way.
Yeah,
Hey, hi, hello.
Yeah, sorry, Ethan.
No, you're good.
And then that led to What the Film, as you're listening to right now. And so for the first semester of Popcorn Premieres, the way that was structured was it would just be a couple of segments talking about like just movies for longer periods of time with guests, and that's going to be something that we're going to be starting to do here for What the Film. That way Ethan and I don't need to come up with some like gimmick or gag for literally every single week of this show, because that's kind of exhausting.
They don't even tune in for the gimmicks. They tune in for our charming personalities.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now you're gonna be getting the charming personalities of our guests too, like later today in my discussion about Megalopolis and also probably The Wild Robot with Joe Costa.
Yes.
So that's going to be wonderful. So anyways, Ethan and I are still going to be doing like our news discussion, some box office, maybe talking about the movies that then aren't going to be getting talked about later, and just talking about what's up next weekend. I've also introduced a little game for October, not like a big game, but if you notice in our episode notes, Ethan, there is a link to wheelofnames.com.
Ooh, I see this.
So click wheelofnames.com. and you will see a wheel of horror movies that you and I have both seen that have come out.
So I don't see this.
You don't see this?
I do not see this.
Okay, well, it pulls up on my laptop, so yeah. I will instead just flip it to
All right.
you.
Oh, so, that's a lot of names.
Yeah, these are all the horror movies that you and I have both collectively seen that have come out in 2018 or earlier.
Okay.
Wanted to do like a over 5 years ago type of deal.
That makes sense.
So at the end of all of our segments,
You're just going to spin the wheel and we'll talk about it?
We're going to talk about whatever movie comes up.
All right.
Just for like a little bit and be like, do we recommend this as an October Halloween movie?
This is fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a little thing. I feel like it will probably only be like 5 to 10 minutes, but just a good way to like talk about a good or a couple of bad horror movies on here, but it's mostly good. I mean,
I like good.
Yeah, like the earliest horror movie that we have, I think, is Frankenstein from 1931, and the latest horror movie we have is Halloween 2018.
All right.
Yeah, so big range of stuff. All right, anyways, let's dive in with the news. Starting off with, of course, the biggest worldwide industry news. You can say it.
I won the August movie auction. And I won the September movie auction.
Yes, you did.
I'm still undefeated.
Yes, in auctions.
I love this. I love this so much.
I hate this.
Megalopolis totally screwed you.
Yeah, Megalopolis really, really messed me up. And I remember actually feeling like, oh, maybe Megalopolis won't be that bad. Yeah, no, it was that bad.
You had Megalopolis, and I had The Substance and The Wild Robot, which are, for our intents and purposes, the two best movies of September.
Yeah.
That's pretty hype, if I do say so myself.
But you're saying that Megalopolis is like one of the best movies of September?
No, I'm saying The Substance and The Wild Robot.
Oh, well, we have not seen A Different Man yet. I really want to try seeing A Different Man this weekend. I feel like A Different Man will be one of those two.
I'm gonna... I mean, I haven't seen Wild
Also,
Robot.
right now, I think actually my second favorite movie of September personally is His Three Daughters, which you also have.
I do have that as well. Yeah. I just have all the good movies and then also The Front Room and Never Let Go, which really didn't set me back too far.
Yeah, meanwhile, I have a lot of the not, like, decent or just not great movies. So, like, I have Beetlejuice, and Transformers, and A Different Man, which will probably end up being a genuinely good movie. But then the not great movies in Wolf's The Killer's Game and Megalopolis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
swaggity daggity.
Not a great lineup in hindsight for me. Great lineup for you.
And what I find more shocking is that I won for August, because Trap, for me at least, was like that was my number one on there. You had Alien Romulus, you had It Ends With Us, which was a huge box office success, and somehow I won our Instagram poll.
And I think what I've kind of narrowed it down to personally is because I know I would have voted this way. If I saw It Ends With Us on a poll of movies to like pick between an auction, I would vote against It Ends With Us just due to all the controversies, due to the just insensitivity towards people that are actually dealing with domestic violence. And like it's a movie it's like when a celebrity or a billionaire like pretends to care about something but then doesn't actually care about it. That is what It Ends With Us has kind of turned into as a film. And I think given that a lot of like our friends and people that follow our personal Instagrams and the What the Film Instagram are people that are like online enough to know about what happened, like It Ends With Us controversies, I feel like it's kind of clear that is probably what caused you to win.
I think I know what caused me to win.
That people just want you to win?
Well, no, because I have a question for you. You know the butcher?
I swear to God.
Nut job that goes around town chopping people up.
Could that also be it? You think that more people saw Trap than Alien?
I don't think more people saw Trap. I just think like Trap is such a fun pick.
It is. I don't know.
Pick. I think Reagan may have actually helped me.
Really?
There were people in the Ithacan office last week talking about Reagan, and it wasn't a negative conversation. It was, holy crap, that's funny that exists. I'm entertained by the existence of this movie.
Oh, so
in
you
which
think
Dennis
people might
Quaid
have
plays
seen
Ronald Reagan.
You think people might have seen Reagan and been like, "That's funny. I'm going to vote for it."
I think people may have seen the combination of Trap and Reagan, both of which are silly and goofy, and that compared to like It Ends With Us, they just weren't feeling that, and they were like, "Well, Ethan's got Reagan.
Yeah,
let's do it."
Yeah, I also had Harold and the Purple Crayon and Borderlands and The Crow. Like, that was my bottom three. Yeah. Your bottom three, The Instigators, A Fry-Eyed, and Reagan, does, I think, beat that by a big margin.
Even less about quality and more just, like...
memeability.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think seeing Matt Damon and Casey Affleck's face just helps. Like,
maybe. I
think
that. I think... The Instigators and like The Deliverance and like those kinds of lower tier movies for me were a bit of a non-factor.
Yeah.
For you, I think they might have hurt. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Either way, you won. You won both.
Hey.
I guess we'll see where this October auction goes.
Yeah.
Just to remind people of the lineups. Ethan is sitting high and pretty with We Live in Time, It's What's Inside, The Apprentice, Joker 2, Piece by Piece, and Terrifier 3. By the way, this is not part of our news segment, but Terrifier 3 did have its opening screenings yesterday, and apparently like 9 people walked out of the theater just at the opening sequence.
So excited.
So I need to watch the Terrifier movies this coming week.
Terrifier 2 is something.
You should join me in watching them.
I might watch Terrifier 2 with you.
Okay, what about 1?
I feel like I don't have much interest in watching 1 for whatever reason.
Really? Okay.
It's like a precursor to what the series is now. And also, as podcast editor for the Ithacan, one of our shows, Deja Vu, is doing a Terrifier 2 episode that comes out in 2 weeks. So I feel like if that specific installment was fresh in my mind, I might like the episode a little more. We'll see.
That's valid.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have SNL, or Saturday Night, not SNL, Smile 2, Venom 3, Conclave, The Outrun, and Salem's Lot.
This is such a weird month.
It's a very weird month, but also, like, I think it's a pretty good month.
Yeah.
Overall.
I do regret picking Joker too.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Are you seeing all the reactions? And it's a Megalopolis, kind of.
But to a lesser extent. As someone who hasn't seen either of them, take this with a grain of salt, but I feel like everything that Megalopolis did that Joker 2 is also doing, it's doing, but less exciting.
Fair, but like Joker's being seen by more people and also will probably have much higher box office expectations. So if it still underperforms, chances are like that underperformance would like look more drastic.
Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, we will see. And currently, Joker Folie à Deux does sit at a 2.7 on Letterboxd.
Yeah,
I'm seeing this tonight at 8:20. Oh yeah, you're also seeing it tonight.
Also seeing it tonight.
Yeah, I'm going with Joe now.
You're going with Joe Costa.
So I am going with Joe Costa.
Ayo.
But we'll see you there.
Yeah.
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 It's going to be a grand old time.
I'll be in my Cinemapolis shirt. You'll be in your Cinemapolis shirt.
He'll be in his Cinemapolis shirt
his
too.
Yellow Cinemapolis shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I'm excited.
Yee.
All right.
Anyway.
So moving on to actually talking about what we got in this news section. The Life of Chuck has been acquired by Neon and is set for a summer 2025 release. Last time we talked about The Life of Chuck, we figured it would definitely be getting released this year just because it's the People's Choice winner at TIFF. That's a big precursor to being like a Best Picture nominee at the Oscars. So does this make The Life of Chuck a 2026 Oscar contender, or since it's getting a summer release?
It's out of it?
Yeah, like, because it can't be 2025, so it would have
Right.
to be 2026.
Yeah.
But since it's going to be a summer release, do we feel like they want it to be an Oscar contender, or do they just think it's a fun movie that people are going to like and they're making it a summer movie?
I think it's maybe that second one, because I don't.
That's kind
at
of what
least
I'm
from what I
thinking,
know
too.
about it, it doesn't seem like the type of movie that would be like that would have sustained hype all the way to Oscar season from
Yeah.
summer. So I don't know.
But then it was a People's Choice winner.
It was, but I also think like that's a long time.
It is.
There are many movies that haven't been able to do it.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't even look like Sing Sing's
Yeah.
like having an easy time doing it, and
Right.
Sing Sing is Sing Sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this, like, to me, this also means that, like, Neon, they are genuinely going to be pushing Seed of the Sacred Fig. Of course, we knew that they were pushing Anora, but if they didn't feel good about Seed of the Sacred Fig, I think that they probably would have released The Life of Chuck this year to make it an Oscar contender. But I would assume that they feel really good about their two big Oscar contenders in Anora and Seed of the Sacred Fig, in that both are going to get a lot of Oscar nominations. It seems like I'm one of the few people that's still very high on Seed of the Sacred Fig.
Yeah, I don't think it's because, like, yeah, Neon's going to be successful this year, but I don't think it's because they're going to have two really successful movies. I think it's because they're going to have the Best Picture winner.
I guess we'll see.
I don't
I
know.
personally think it's both, but we'll definitely find out. In terms of other Oscar updates, Emilia Perez is now considered the number 2 on Gold Derby.
Well, I mean, Gold Derby doesn't mean anything.
Gold Derby doesn't really mean anything, but I just think that that's
Yeah.
awesome. Just because, like, I have been on the Emilia Perez hype train ever since I saw it at Cannes. I was like, oh my God, I think this could win Best Picture. Then I saw Anora and I was like, oh my God, I think that could win Best Picture. And then I realized, what if that's like the 1 and 2? And I don't think I had Emilia Perez at like 2, because just I didn't feel like not enough people had seen it and there wasn't enough like just talk around it pre-Cannes. Well, it just felt like Anora had more talk around it before Cannes. So, but I did always have it in my top 5.
Amelia
which I'm
Perez
very
is
happy
also the most predicted Best Picture nominee. So that's a thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, because it's Netflix's big one.
Yeah.
You know, like The Piano Lesson looks like it's kind of a horror movie.
Really?
The trailer was a little horror.
I haven't watched the trailer.
And people who saw it at festivals were like, oh, like that was more horror than I expected.
Mhm.
So, like, maybe it could get a couple of acting noms, but I just don't think it's going to be getting a Best Picture nom.
Mhm.
And it also just doesn't look like it's really quality-wise just up to snuff next to a lot of the other potential nominees we have, because this looks like a really good year.
Yeah.
Something else that we didn't talk about that happened right around when the last time we recorded about Oscars is that Paramount acquired this movie called September 5. It's getting a November 7th release date. It is about this broadcasting crew involved in the 1972 Olympic Israeli athlete hostage crisis. It's a lot of words back to back that I got there. And it's supposed to be pretty good. It stars, I think, Peter Sarsgaard,
Okay.
I think, or somebody who's kind of big. Let me just Google this before not Google, letterbox this before I say names that aren't actually involved. Yeah, Peter Sarsgaard.
Okay.
And let's see, John Maggiaro, a lot of people who I haven't really heard of, if I'm being honest.
But they're good.
But yeah, you know, and it could be pretty good. It has a 3.5 on Letterboxd right now. Like, that seems fine.
That's fine.
And people liked it out of, like, Telluride and TIFF. Or I don't think it played at TIFF. Or maybe it did play at TIFF. I know it played at Telluride. And people liked it out of Telluride. So I'm feeling all right about that one.
It's just outside the Gold Derby 10 right now.
Yeah, that was the other thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in the Gold Derby 10, but it's just outside of it. And the other reason why I wanted to talk about it is just because I remember I think it was right before I started editing that episode, or before we posted it, because Brendan edits.
Okay.
But like before we posted it, I was reading a Hollywood Reporter article about the movie, and they were talking about it like it was a surefire Best Picture nominee. And I was like, really? Because I guess whoever had written it had already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of surprising me, but was interesting as well. And I guess the other bit is just Juror number 2 is releasing on November 1st. It's barely being promoted by Warner Bros., but it's said to be Clint Eastwood's last movie. Trailer looked pretty good. Do we think it has any Oscar hope?
I feel like it doesn't, just because it's really not getting that much. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I do know what it's about, and just the concept is really cool.
Yeah, the concept is really cool.
So we'll see. Like, I'm a Nicholas Hoult fan at the end of the day.
Me too.
So.
Yeah, I'm excited about Toni Collette, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Really good cast.
Good cast.
Interesting looking plot. Interesting looking trailer.
I will watch that trailer.
Yeah.
And see if it lives up to what I have built the synopsis being in my mind.
It lived up to what I had built the synopsis being in my mind. So I'm curious what you think about it. Okay. Moving on from Oscar stuff. Venom: The Last Dance is Tom Hardy's last Venom movie.
Woo!
I'm so sad by this.
You're sad?
I'm so sad.
But it's Venom.
You know, it's been a part of
Venom.
my life. Exactly.
Venom.
What?
They ain't gonna know what hit 'em.
I can't believe you just did that.
Venom.
That was beautiful. So yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis has unretired from acting.
This was the big piece of news from the week, I think.
This is huge.
Yeah.
It's Daniel Day-Lewis.
Insert Return of the King memes.
Yeah. Like, seriously. So he's unretired from acting. He's currently working in his son's debut feature, co-starring Sean Bean. Sean Bean was in the Lord of the Rings movies. And also Daniel Day co-wrote the script.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm really curious if Daniel Day will then start actually acting like in other directors' movies, or if this is kind of like a one-off for him because it's his son.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's the first one.
I mean, I'm hoping it's the first one. I don't think it's the end of the world if it isn't.
I don't know. I think it might be.
It might. We've been fine the last 7 years.
But like, we're getting a chance for Daniel Day to like actually return for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it would be so sad if all it was like this one movie. Like, I really hope because we have a lot of great directors who are nearing the ends of their careers, who I think like it would be really cool if Daniel Day worked with. Francis Ford Coppola's working on another movie. Could Daniel Day work with Coppola? Scorsese's probably got like 1 or 2 movies left. Please, Daniel Day, like, if you want to start acting a little bit more, like, again, would be awesome if you reunited with Scorsese.
Or just like, Daniel Day, if you're listening to this, come to the Park School. Like, we've got a lot of student films.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Act in our CP2 finals, please.
Oh yeah. That'd be very interesting, you know. Just go.
Doesn't have anything better to do.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this is hype though.
This is very hype, and I'm really hoping that at least he does like something with Scorsese or something on top of this. I feel like I could see Scorsese making that happen.
Yeah.
Just because like Scorsese had like a Jesus movie and a Sinatra movie that were in the works, but now seem to be delayed indefinitely.
I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis basically is Jesus and Frank Sinatra.
He could be both.
Yeah.
Or
At once.
Or Scorsese has a different movie that could be getting cooked up. That's
Whoa.
Totally different.
Whoa.
And then Daniel Day could be a part of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm good with whatever. I just want to see them work together again, personally. And finally,
you a Gangs of New York fan, Logan?
I think it's okay.
All right.
But I really like Daniel Day.
Yes.
In Gangs of New York.
Okay.
He's by far the best part of that entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So
cool.
I think like whatever they'd work on would be better than Gangs in New York.
I agree.
Like Gangs in New York is not as
I think because of where Scorsese is right now.
And especially, like, Scorsese made Killers of the Flower Moon, and I think Killers of the Flower Moon is amazing.
You
like, I
do
think
really like that movie.
I think it's an amazing,
You
like,
have mentioned
masterpiece of a film. It
Yes.
might be my favorite Scorsese movie.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Really?
So, like, I think Scorsese is still, like, really cooking.
Yeah.
And I think he can make something great with this partnership. I'm sorry, I'm, like, fanboying.
No, you're good.
So
It's
let's
Killers of the Flower Moon.
It is Killers of the Flower Moon. All right, let's just move on real quick. California has a new law for buying digital content, where it's now just referred to as long-term rentals. This is something that I am personally really happy about because California is a big part in like how the entertainment industry operates, and chances are if California institutes a law, then the changes that the industry will make will then just be kind of in place everywhere. This came after Ubisoft had a video game called The Crew that they just completely removed from players' accounts. So Ubisoft got sued, and then California made this ruling. And I think this could lead to a new rise in physical media again, or just digital content like being made a little cheaper, because now that it's going to be referred to as long-term rentals rather than buying it, there's less value just in the name because you don't have ownership anymore, because it's clear.
There's no guarantee you'll have it forever.
Exactly. Like, because beforehand it made it look like you had ownership of this digital content, which when you think about it makes no sense. Like, of course you wouldn't have ownership of digital content because it's digital and it's not like right there, but like it's not in the fine print. But now it's literally going to be in the title, long-term rental, rather than like buy. I think this will also probably affect the video game industry more than the film industry, just because you're going to probably see huge reduction in sales for like consoles that are discless, because now that people are going to be made aware that, oh, if you get a discless console, you're not going to own any of those games. They could be taken away at a whim. Right. Like if you could buy this game for a long-term rental, and then in theory the company could remove it in a week, and then it's like, oh, what do I do now? So you might as well go and get the disc. Yeah. And I'm hoping and figuring that something similar will happen to the film industry and bring back a rise in like Blu-rays and DVDs and all that good stuff.
Fun. Yeah. I agree with this.
Do you have any thoughts?
You just kind of hit everything I would have said.
I don't know. I'm happy about it personally, because I do eventually want to be a guy with a giant physical media collection.
I want to be one of those guys.
I do want to be one of those guys.
You want to have like a giant DVD shelf in the background of your videos.
Yes. Well, no, not in the background of my videos, but just somewhere in like my house or apartment that I could then like, just have personally.
When you give people a tour of the Thompson home.
Exactly. I don't necessarily want like that to be my background, because I just feel like it's a little generic.
A little.
Because so many people have that. Yeah. Where it's just like, ooh, look at all my DVDs. Can you tell that I like film?
I could tell because the name of the channel is Logan Likes Movies, so like I figure you do.
Exactly. So I don't also need DVDs. Right. I kind of would rather just have like posters or a wall, or like just kind of like certain like pictures and whatnot that are film related instead, which is what I do. Right. So since I'm going to be talking about A Wild Robot and Megalopolis with Joe, I don't really want to touch on them too much while we are talking.
Plus, I haven't seen them.
Exactly. But I do just want to mention that Megalopolis bombed. It was projected to make $5 million and then made $4 million. This movie has a $120 million budget, an absolutely loaded cast, and is a movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Who cares?
It made $4 million. Yeah. Just like, that's nuts to me. Well, The Wild Robot, on the other hand, at least based on the sources that I read, seemed to be projected to make $25 million, and instead made almost $36 million. Yes. Made 35.8 specifically.
Good stuff.
So, like, that's huge and awesome, and I was totally wrong when I said that parents would rather take their kids to see Transformers than The Wild Robot. Yeah. I was wrong. Yeah. So
okay, we've been there.
We have been there. But I had a very strong opinion about it too. Like I talked to you about it before. Yeah. Wasn't I pretty like strong?
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, very resolved in this mindset.
Yeah, and I was wrong. So I'm admitting that I was wrong. You don't hear me do that a lot.
All right.
but
I'm
doing
proud
it.
of you.
Thank you. I
Character
appreciate it.
development.
All right, so 2 streaming movies real quick, just to mention. Will and Harper. This was a Netflix documentary about Will Ferrell and Harper Steele, who had recently like transitioned and was this writer on SNL and had used to like travel across the country all the time as a man. And as a man, like it's very safe to do that. But as a transgender woman, traveling across the country is very dangerous. So this is a movie documentary where Will and Harper like travel across the country on a road trip and just kind of view the world from a new perspective. And I found it to be really moving, and it had a lot of really powerful moments and really showed a lot of like the hatefulness of people and how disgusting people act towards people who have transitioned really for no reason. Mm-hmm. There are just a lot of moments where you'd see like people see Will and Harper together, and then it would like have all these tweets with pictures of Will because like paparazzi and stuff, and then being like, why is Will Ferrell with this man? Does Will not realize he's with a man? Blah 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 blah. And it was so gross and so saddening, but also really really powerful, and I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. Great documentary.
I will maybe watch it. I probably won't, but sounds good.
It was good. Yeah. I liked it. Something that wasn't so good is Wolves. Stars Brad Pitt and George Clooney, their first movie together since Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
This is the most mediocre movie I've ever seen.
Really?
It's just so right down the middle. It doesn't do anything that's like revoltingly terrible, nor does it do anything that's like resoundingly amazing. Just everything is either decent, okay, mediocre, or bad. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's just kind of the range of this film. It's a very clear cut 2.5 out of 5. Just disappointing. I expected more from George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Yeah. So disappointed for sure.
Dang.
But oh well, have a review of that coming to the Ithacan later.
The Ithacan.
Yeah, the Ithacan.
The Ithacan.
My review of Megalopolis already got posted on there, by the way. That was really cool.
That was quick.
Like the turnaround was awesome. Yeah. After how I made a substance review, right, and that took 10 days to get put there. Megalopolis took like 3. Yeah. Because my whole thing is like whenever I see that people make comments, I try to get back to them within 2 hours. Yeah. Because then that way, like, there's no reason for it to be slow on my end.
You actually, do you want to hear something crazy?
What's something crazy?
Let me actually find it so I can read it out to you.
Wait, what is this about?
This is our managing editor Noah asking for Staff of the Week nominations, and Georgie Gassaro, co-Life and Culture editor, saying, I would say Logan Thompson for getting back to edits so quickly and reviews needing minimal edits.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
So maybe that'll happen. That would be exciting.
Has it already happened? Right?
No, it hasn't.
No, you got headline of the week.
Yeah, but then they didn't even like message about it.
Right. Yeah.
So it was like, does it even count?
I feel like Life and Culture articles are very primed for headline of the week.
Why?
Because they're Life and Culture. You can kind of have more fun with them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love writing these movie reviews. Sorry that Ethan and I went on a little tangent there, but that was it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Highly recommend writing movie reviews if that's something that you might be interested in.
Yes.
All right, coming out this weekend, before we move on to our little horror movie wheel, Joker Folie à Deux.
You know Gangnam Style?
No.
Like the song Gangnam Style?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so I actually heard that Gangnam Style is going to be one of the songs in noted jukebox musical Joker Folie à Deux.
Okay, I think you're bullshitting
I
me.
am.
You did this before.
I've done this bit a lot, and it sucks because now the movie's actually coming out, so everyone's going to know what the songs are in it, so I'll never get to do this bit again. Yeah. So I'm doing it as much as I can.
I'm glad that you've had fun doing this bit while you've had the chance to, but I think you did it on me already. So now I'm just kind of like, oh, that's not actually happening, even though it would be pretty cool.
It would be.
Like, it would be kind of awesome to see, like, Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga just going, like, you know, doing the, like, things and, like the thing, like, the jumping around and, like, doing the lasso.
Shallow by Lady Gaga from A Star Is Born? She's gonna do that in Joker Folly.
You see, I could actually see that happening.
Really?
I could.
That'd be crazy.
It's Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
So like Lady Gaga's already in it. Didn't Warner Bros. Do A Star Is Born?
I think so.
So then it's already Warner Bros.
Right.
And like,
Todd Phillips, make it happen.
It's a sad love song.
Yeah.
And like, this is a love story. I could see them trying to make it sad for a second. You know, I could actually see that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Joker Folly Ado. We're seeing that tonight. You could also watch, as of we're recording on Thursday, Salem's Lot on Max right now. Kind of interesting that it came out on a Thursday because I feel like usually streaming releases come out on Fridays.
It's a little wonky.
Then there's A Different Man going to be in theaters. We talked about that earlier. Sebastian Stan, just really excited for that. Looks kind of similar to The Substance.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like in its themes, and people that have already seen it have said that as well. Mm-hmm. Then there's It's What's Inside on Netflix. Had a lot of success at Sundance. Heard the trailer's good. Haven't watched the trailer.
Yes.
Because I was told
Maybe
on a review.
the only time I've ever watched a trailer that you haven't.
Yeah, this is because usually I watch all the trailers.
Right.
But this is like the one movie of this whole year where I've been like, I'm not watching this trailer. Mm-hmm. Which has been...
I've held off on watching the new Nosferatu trailer, so...
Good for you.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Emilia Perez trailer?
Nope.
Are you going to?
I'll watch that. Yeah.
Okay, because I've been telling you to watch that. It's a vibes trailer.
It's a vibes trailer.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's also Hold Your Breath on Hulu. So a bit of a streaming horror trifecta, along with Joker and A Different Man.
Yes.
Right, with that being said, let's go to our wheel.
Can I like see the wheel as you spin it?
Yes, you can.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
I'm flipping over the wheel.
For our listeners, Logan is about to spin the wheel, the magical horror wheel.
I'm shuffling the horror movies. Spin.
He's spinning.
It's spinning
What's
right
it gonna
now.
land on?
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
This is insane.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
hey!
Okay, this is a good one. Wait, okay, Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
1991.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan, what are your thoughts on Silence of the Lambs?
My thoughts are you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Silence of the Lambs.
You do.
I think it's incredible. I think it just has it has some of the best horror movie performances of all time. It might be just like my favorite horror movie, like by the books, that or Alien probably. And it's just a good mystery,
Yes.
and I really like the story of Clarice. I mean, just Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough said on that.
Yeah.
It's a good time, but I don't know if I'd recommend it as a Halloween movie.
I also don't know if I would.
It doesn't feel seasonal enough.
Right.
And I feel like Halloween horror movies, like not only are they a horror movie, but I feel like they kind of have like an element of like camp almost.
Yeah. Spookiness.
And like spookiness. Like and I feel like this is it's a prestige horror movie.
Right. It's kind of like a psychological thriller.
Yeah,
with
that
horror
too.
Elements.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like the night vision scene is very much right out of a horror movie, but a lot of it is just like, really, it's just Anthony Hopkins and his performance and just how unsettled you are by that.
Yeah. And
like, I would agree, he's amazing. Jodie Foster's amazing. Definitely two of the best horror or horror adjacent performances out there. I love how it's like I feel like post Longlegs, it's also just fun to think about because Longlegs does borrow a lot from it.
That too, yeah.
And like it is at its core kind of a detective / police procedural, but it goes in very dark places, and it's a lot of fun. And it's fun not just because of what's happening in the movie, but because it's a good ass movie.
It is.
And good ass movies are entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are. So I guess it's not a Halloween, or I think it could be a Halloween movie.
Maybe.
Not a top tier Halloween movie, but if I heard that people were kind of like watching this in October to prep for Halloween, I wouldn't like judge them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so good first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to be doing this like at the end of every October episode. Wonderful. Now. So this is the first of like 4, probably.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah. You know what we should do?
What should we do?
For the end of our November episodes, because that's the Thanksgiving month.
Should be fall movies?
No, we should talk about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving every time.
Every time. You know,
But
maybe,
like we only talk about the first quarter of the movie, the first episode, and then only the second quarter. So like we're never we're always talking about new parts of the movie.
new parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make a comprehensive list of fall movies
You
to
could
talk about.
Yeah.
But then
I'd be down.
if I did the not within the last 5 years, then Thanksgiving wouldn't be on the list.
Okay. Maybe you open it up then.
Okay.
I can't think of them, but I feel like there's been some good fall movies lately.
There have been. Should I open this list up to including newer things? I just feel like I didn't want to open it up
I
because
don't think we need to.
yeah, because I feel like these horror movies are already talked about a lot. So I wanted to do things that weren't talked about as much.
What would you add?
I mean, I'd just add like all the horror movies.
How much? I feel like I don't want so much of it to be recent stuff.
That's also why, because I feel like we've seen a lot more recent stuff than like, older movies. Like 2018 is by far our most oversaturated year on here with 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have 5 2018 movies.
It's a lot.
Here. And like then it gets less and less.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Lord knows we need to talk about the Meg. Just so we can get our Jason Statham.
Oh yeah, did you saw the Meg was on here?
Of course, yeah.
The
Love how that's on here.
On Letterboxd, it's a horror movie.
Sure.
So
yeah.
So it's on here. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in to our section of this episode. Now we're going to turn things to my conversation about Megalopolis and the Wild Robot with Joe Costa.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right, so here I am now with Joe Costa. We're going to be talking about The Wild Robot and his favorite movie of 2024, Megalopolis.
My favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
Best picture, best actor, best actress, best supporting actor and actress, best original screenplay, everything. It's going to get all the marbles.
Yeah, you loved everything.
I love this movie, guys. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just... I know how you actually think about this movie, and I'm excited for you to just go off about it.
I kind of put it into the back of my head.
Yeah.
Just as much as I can.
Just trying to not think about it.
Yeah, and then just kind of focus on everything that's going on the past few weeks.
That's fair. Well, you know what? This is your therapy session.
It is.
For Megalopolis, where you can talk about it. But before you go off about Megalopolis, let's talk for a second about the Wild Robot. Because we did double feature The Wild Robot and Megalopolis.
I'm so glad we did Wild Robot first.
Really? Okay.
Because not only was it I thought it was great.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was funny. It was a bit emotional. Animation was great. All the acting was great.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried a bit about the celebrity voice acting, like Pedro Pascal.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I don't even know if I knew until maybe watching the trailers a few days before, but I was worried that they were gonna overdo it, but they kind of restrained themselves with it, and I think they kept it as purposeful as they could, which I think was great.
No, I agree. I mean, I didn't really notice that these people were these people, except Lupita Nyong'o. I thought that I thought she was a little obvious, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I did not notice Pedro Pascal at all. I did notice Bill Nighy in the sense that the voice was distinct, but I didn't think about it.
Wait,
yeah.
Who? Wait, Bill
Nighy, I think was the beaver. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know who I was thinking of. I was thinking of some other British actor.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't notice Stephanie Sue at all. Didn't really notice Mark Hamill, and I didn't notice Catherine O'Hara until the credits. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think that they were all just great, and they all just really gave good performances. The animation.
Oh my god, it was stellar.
Yeah, some of the best animation of the year.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I find myself liking a lot more animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really heard or seen much of anything from animation. I know there was Transformers 1.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but I do want to kind of see it. I know, because it just went out of theaters, right?
I think it's still in theaters.
It still is? Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's still in theaters.
But I've heard, great things about that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
You've told me about Flow, was it?
Yeah, Flow was really good. I saw that at Cannes. Inside Out was good.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that even came out. I remember you seeing it too. And it was a packed theater.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I don't know.
remember that too. And then what else was it? Kung Fu Panda 4. That happened.
That happened?
Yeah.
I thought that was last year.
No, that was this year. Kung Fu Panda 4 in March.
Oh, man.
And then I actually saw this yesterday and was just telling you about it, but The Peasants. It was like a festival 2023 release, but then got like, it got a theatrical release in the US that was kind of small like this year. So I'm counting it as a film for this year. And it's a like painted animation movie, like the Vincent Van Gogh movie that you asked about. And I thought the animation was stunning. Like that actually might be like my personal best animated movie of the year just because of how that looks. It really looked incredible in my opinion. And yeah, like really this has been a solid year for animation.
Yeah.
I think especially with Wild Robot and Transformers kind of jumping into the mix because it was looking a little weak. Oh, Despicable Me 4. Forgot about that.
Oh man,
I don't
know how I didn't see it, but I had Double Life as like my number one song for like a whole month.
I haven't even seen Double Life or listened to Double Life.
I don't. It started out as a joke, but then the more I listened to it, I was like, this is kind of like, this goes hard. Like I was listening to it like when driving and stuff. I was like, I felt like a spy and stuff. Like,
oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to it now. But so going back to the Wild Robot though, I would say, because a lot of people thought that the Wild Robot could be a Best Picture contender and be like one of the first animated movies there. And I see why they might have thought that from some of the trailers and the clips and all that. But after seeing it, I don't see it at all.
Yeah.
Especially because of the montage.
The montage.
Remember the montage in like the middle of the film, and then all of a sudden, like after the only musical elements being like the really good score, there's like some random pop song that comes on for the montage.
I think so. I don't really remember.
It was like during the Bright Bill training sequence.
Oh wait, I think I remember.
Yeah.
Now. Okay.
And it just, to me, that just was really cheesy, and I was like, okay, that's what just pulled me out of the movie and made it a not 4.5 out of 5. And I don't know, I just wasn't really a fan. And just to give the plot of this film for everybody, because we forgot to do that, after a shipwreck, an intelligent robot named Roz, Lupita Nyong'o, is stranded on an uninhabited island. To survive the harsh environment, Roz bonds with the island's animals and cares for an orphaned baby goose. And that baby goose being Bright Bill, who is kind of the runt of the litter. And she tries to train up to really be able to like go and migrate with the rest of the geese. So,
who voiced Bright Bill?
Kit Connor.
Kit.
He right now is doing Romeo and Juliet with Rachel Zegler on Broadway, I believe.
Okay, I don't know. I don't recognize it. But I do agree that I don't think this would be a Best Picture, just because I don't think it's the greatest of all time. I think it was really good.
Yeah.
But there's some aspects about that I don't think were perfect. Like I wasn't really expecting a fight sequence in the movie. I wasn't expecting humans to even be in the movie or anything.
That's fair.
And I thought there were a lot of false endings for it.
Really?
That's what I got.
I didn't really pick up on any false endings personally.
I think I wasn't a huge fan of the ending too, because are we allowed to say spoilers?
Yeah. I wouldn't spoil it, but I get what you're talking about, where I do actually get it, because there was a little bit of a false ending, but then it almost has like an epilogue.
Yeah.
And then it ends on like the epilogue moment. And yeah, I agree, because I felt like I kind of figured that they would end at what felt like the true ending, and then what was the epilogue would have been a possible sequel.
Yeah, they could be sequel like baiting, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe they still could do a sequel.
Yeah, because this was based on books of the same name, and there's multiple of them. So I mean, it's entirely possible that they could if they want to.
Yeah, no, I'm curious if that's the route that they go.
Yeah.
So do you have any more thoughts now before we just jump over to Megalopolis?
Oh man, this was directed by Chris Saunders, who did Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
Fantastic as always. I remember watching Lilo and Stitch maybe a few months ago, and I loved it. as if I loved Del Rey, but I kind of re-fell in love with it. I mean, he does amazing work. You know, I feel like he has no faults almost.
Yeah, no, he's a really, really great just animated film director, and I don't think I've disliked really anything I've seen from him to this date. Granted, I haven't seen The Croods.
The first or the second one?
Which Croods did he do? Oh, did he do?
He might have done the.
He did the first one. I haven't seen the first Croods.
It's not
that
3.1
on Letterboxd.
It's
That's
okay.
not horrible. And I also haven't seen the Call of the Wild.
Is that the Harrison Ford dog one?
Harrison Ford dog movie, 2020. Haven't seen that. That's his one live action movie.
Over to Megalopolis.
Yes, let's talk about Megalopolis.
Let's go to New Rome. Is it New Rome or New Rome City?
I think it's just New Rome.
Yeah.
I believe. Let me just read the Letterboxd synopsis of this before we really dive into it. If you can't see a better future, build one. Genius artist Caesar Catalina seeks to leap the city of New Rome into a utopian, idealistic future, while his opposition mayor Franklin Cicero remains committed to a regressive status quo, perpetuating greed, special interests, and partisan welfare. That is all one sentence. Torn between them is socialite Julia Cicero, the mayor's daughter, whose love for Caesar has divided her loyalties, forcing her to discover what she truly believes humanity desires. That's the summary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I need to wipe some tears. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? It's really... Oh, and so in other summaries for this movie, apparently it goes into that the funding that Caesar gets to build his utopia comes from the federal government. That is not mentioned in the movie once, but apparently that's part of the backstory.
I think they might have mentioned it once.
Really?
Because
he gets the Nobel Prize. That happens in the first 10 minutes of the movie. That's not a spoiler. And I don't remember hearing about any of his federal funding.
I think it's a scene where I don't know how much spoilers you want us to talk about.
If it happens in the first 10, 15 minutes.
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think it's much later on. It's Caesar and Cicero are talking.
Okay, then yeah, I'd say let's not get into that.
Right.
But if you do think it might have been brought up, then I get that. I just don't remember. It didn't.
There's a lot.
It wasn't a big deal.
There's a lot to this movie that either you don't remember or you're in denial. Yeah. Because I think you can equate this to a fever dream.
Yeah, this movie is a total fever dream. I think that's kind of how I opened up the review I wrote for the Ithacan about it. And it's just it's trying to do so much, and I get some of what it's trying to do, and some of what it did was kind of cool.
And it's saying so little. Sorry to cut you off there.
Well, it is saying so little, and also with everything it's trying to do, it takes away from what it needs. This movie needed a lot more showing the artist that Caesar is, because something that this movie is trying to say is that the art of his architecture gives him the ability to stop time.
Is that
that's apparently how he has that. And apparently him and Julia, I remember, had this conversation about how artists just have the ability to stop time, and that's just kind of a conversation that happens. And you just don't really see him being an artist. You see him demolish a few buildings, and you see him tinker with tools at a desk. You don't really see him being an artist. I feel you don't see him on the front lines of his utopian construction. And that just really bothered me, because this movie does so many pointless things that could have been taken out of it to provide more time to show Caesar being this great artist, and it doesn't do that.
It says so little, but it's both it's so on the nose and subtle to the point where it's non-existent.
Yeah.
In the trailers and stuff, there's the statues and stuff, and that was so on the nose. I was come on, do you think your audience is this like dumb or like so like I don't know.
Yeah, it was like he wasn't taking, like, it felt like in a lot of moments in this film that Coppola wasn't taking his audience too seriously, because there was that moment with the statues, and the idea was it was supposed to convey injustice in like this kind of not nice area of New Rome. And what happens is, for the audience, is like you see injustice is happening like on the streets and whatnot. You see like people who are impoverished. You see these impoverished neighborhoods. They have these metaphorical statues that Joe's just talking about, like falling, and they're like the justice statues falling. And then also a character literally utters the line of sorry, let me just find the quote. Surrounded by injustice, like in the car while driving through. Like it's
There's
just
so much with that, like them in the cars that makes no sense too.
Yeah.
Like not even like with the message or theme of the story, just the story in general. Like because Shia LaBeouf is in it too.
Yep, Shia LaBeouf.
He's Adam Driver's cousin, and
Julia's cousin.
Yeah.
So they're all related too. That's the other thing. He's like this weird in-between cousin of Adam Driver and Julia, but then Julia's not related enough to Adam Driver to be considered a cousin since she's the love interest. And that also means that Adam Driver and Giancarlo Esposito aren't related enough to like each other like family, because they're like sworn enemies in this movie. Yeah.
Like, what was it even necessary to make them related?
Probably not.
Yeah.
It was just weirder.
Yeah, and Claudio was his name, Shia LaBeouf's character.
Claudio.
I don't even remember why he didn't like Caesar. He just did.
Yeah, he just didn't. I just think it kind of came off like he didn't like Caesar because Caesar was successful.
Maybe, but it's like he's the John Voight.
John Voight.
That's his father or grandfather who owns the banks.
Yeah.
Is it like
I think it's his uncle.
His uncle?
I believe.
Oh man, this family tree is too confusing
for
me to understand.
There's a lot
but maybe it was like maybe he didn't want to be a nepo baby or anything, so maybe that's why he went into politics or something.
Yeah, so Shia LaBeouf like goes into politics to like get people to rebel against Caesar while also trying to like take over the bank run by John Voight, and like it's so just odd. There's so much stuff going on. His character does a million things. At one point, like he dresses in drag to hook up with Caesar, but then like, nothing even happened with the hookup with Caesar. They just kind of hooked up.
There's so many quotes too. There was one I think about Shia LaBeouf being in a dress. I forget what it is. There's so many like odd quotes that are like so nonsensical but are just so funny to like say.
Yeah.
Like Aubrey Plaza as is it Wow Platinum or Wild Platinum?
It sounded like she said Wild in most of the movie, but then on IMDb it's Wow.
Huh. Okay, because she's having a sort of affair with Caesar, and they're in like his apartment, I guess. And just, do you know the quote?
I know. Yeah, I know the exact quote. Do you know the quote exactly?
No.
Okay, so then let me utter this quote.
Put me to shame.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to quote this from my movie review. At one point, while sleeping together, Platinum drops to her knees in front of an overwhelmed Caesar and says, "Your anal is hell, Caesar. I, on the other hand, am oral as hell." You can guess what she then starts to do after that and just leave that up for interpretation because I think it's obvious enough.
She's in the movie a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember her even being in the movie, like when, like, from marketing and stuff.
Yeah, she wasn't marketed too much, but then she ended up being one of the more utilized characters. I mean, really, she's
almost like a catalyst to like a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that revolves around her character.
Yeah, like just one thing I can't complain about in this film is that its characters don't ever feel underused. Like, I feel like you get a good amount of everybody except for I would say I wish that we could have gotten more Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, yeah.
And also, we needed an extra scene with Dustin Hoffman for reasons that I think would be a spoiler. But it's like, oh, Dustin Hoffman's in this movie. And then it's like, oh, and
bye,
now,
Dustin Hoffman.
Bye, Dustin Hoffman. And it's just, okay, why was he in the movie in the first place?
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like he could have been used a little bit more than this. So, yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot where I think that no one really told or questioned Coppola and said, this doesn't seem right, or this doesn't really work.
Yeah. There was a lot of excitement because Coppola's been developing this movie for 40 years. And it's like, oh my God, like he's been fine-tuning this for 40 years. Like, that's awesome. He hasn't been fine-tuning anything for 40 years. What he's been doing is coming up with idea after idea after idea after idea for 40 years and shoved 40 years worth of ideas without leaving out a single one of his ideas into a 2-hour and 18-minute movie.
It did not feel like 2 hours.
No, it felt like the Snyder
an
cut.
eternity.
Yeah, it felt as long as the Snyder cut.
Yeah, there was, because I should mention that I was not having a good time. I know. I was in like the depths of hell with this movie. I had major brain fog from this. Like, I don't know if it was because we were there at like 10 o'clock at night or something, and we had been there since maybe like 5 or 6, or it was just the movie, which I think it was probably just the movie, just because how like insane it was, and how it's very incoherent. It's not really cohesive. And was it Giancarlo Esposito? His character Cicero doesn't really. He hates the whole thing about Megalopolis, but at the end he just like kind of like flips. Oh, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, there's not just like there's really not a lot of conflict either. Like, all the conflict in this film, it like builds and you think it could go somewhere interesting, and then by the end of it, it all just kind of folds. Yeah. And there's not really like there's no struggles for the leads who you're supposed to be cheering for. They get everything that they want, and then people who are framed to be the antagonists just falter so easily. And there's also just some of the most ridiculous things that you've ever seen in film in this movie. You see somebody who's portrayed as a 16-year-old have their virginity auctioned off at a Coliseum.
Yeah.
Like, that happens in the middle of this movie, and it's like a 10-minute sequence that ends with a riot, and then apparently that person's not actually 16. I don't even feel like it's a spoiler. It's not important to the story.
I don't even remember what they were rioting about at the end of the movie. Do you remember? Was it just
what were they rioting?
The riot.
Rioting.
Yeah, rioting.
Yeah, I think it was just like at the end of the movie there was a riot, I think just because like Caesar was demolishing people's homes to build Megalopolis.
It's like Coppola was trying to be like, hey, gentrification is not that bad as you think.
Exactly. He was
and in the end, it's just like they added a few like escalators.
Yeah.
They have a Jurassic World, like the little sphere things that you can travel in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, this really felt like...
You need help paying rent? Having food?
Nope.
Good luck.
Yeah, we're gonna give you escalators and ski lifts. That's Megalopolis, guys.
Yeah.
Golden escalators and golden ski lifts to get you around your city.
Strange.
It was
very
just
strange.
Very odd film. And you're right. Like it did actually, now that I think about it, feel like a pro-gentrification movie, and essentially saying, hey, gentrification's gonna suck for like 10 years, but let it happen, and then you'll be so happy it happened. And it's just like, yeah, but like 10 years is a big chunk of my life, you know?
Does this movie take place over 10 years?
I don't think it's very clear in how long it takes.
It has to be at least
a few years. I think it's at least a few years, just because of how much happens and develops and like changes and whatnot. But like it felt a lot like watching The Room. And I think that's why, like, I did kind of have a good time watching it.
Yeah.
And am interested to go and watch it again because now I know what to expect. But, like, I don't want The Room from Francis Ford Coppola.
No, you want, like...
I want, like, The Godfather. Like, you know,
want The Godfather.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
I think The Outsiders, right?
Yeah, like, and honestly, like, I was kind of, like, hoping this whole time about Megalopolis I would be, like, an Outsiders tier movie because that's a lower tier Coppola movie, but still, like, a decent film.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was hoping for. And
Yeah.
didn't even get there.
It saddens me too that because the first Godfather, that's one of my favorites of all time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like it saddens me because if this is his last film or anything he makes, everyone's just gonna everyone's most likely to just remember Megalopolis, a fable.
I disagree. That's the point I do disagree on. I've had a couple of conversations about that.
Yeah.
I feel like people are going to remember it and be like, Coppola was able to make so many great movies, and by the end of his career got to make the film that he'd been dying to make. People might not have liked it, but I think it'll be celebrated just for Coppola being able to get it made at such a troubling time for the rest of the industry.
True.
And he really fought tooth and nail to get this made. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the kind of film that later gets accepted societally and is actually like right now it's being really like frowned upon. But there's movies like The Shining that were considered terrible when they came out.
Yeah.
And I think this is a movie that does kind of have the chance to have some revisionist history in like 20, 30, 40 years where people look back at it and are like, oh, I actually really liked Megalopolis.
Yeah. Could be that. Maybe I'm just too dumb to understand his genius.
Yeah, you know, because Coppola is just a mad scientist genius, man. And
this is his Frankenstein monster.
Yes. And he's owning it, that's for sure. He's really, he's living
Good
it
for
up
him.
with Megalopolis. Yeah, I mean, he got to do what he wanted.
Yeah. This came to my mind like a few minutes ago. I completely forgot Lawrence Fishburne is even in it.
Lawrence Fishburne was good, though. Like, he was one of the better parts.
Oh, yeah, no, because I think his time is, he's, like, his character is there for a good amount of time. He's not overdoing it. He's not underutilized or anything. He's kind of this narrator, and he's also sort of like a secondary character to Adam Driver. I thought at the very end, I think I told you this, I thought when he's doing the last bit of dialogue for him, I thought he was going to look straight at the camera or something.
Oh, I think
because that's what I thought was going to happen, where it's like, you are the future or something now.
Yeah, like cheesily
think about it or something. Like
I wish they ended like that and really embraced the just cheesiness of this whole film. And I guess the one thing with Fishburne is that there was one scene towards the end of this film where Adam Driver is going to meet with Jon Voight. And Fishburne, for the most of this film, is like his driver and like kind of his assistant, like bodyguard type of figure. And Fishburne's not there as his driver. And it just really threw me off because you see Lawrence Fishburne as Adam Driver's driver for the whole film. And then towards the end of it, it's not Fishburne. It's some random guy you'd never seen in the entire film before. And I was like, where's Lawrence Fishburne? Like, did they just film the scene? And Fishburne was like on the set of John Wick or something?
Maybe.
And had a conflict?
It could be. I don't even remember. Is it the last thing with Adam Driver even in a scene with Jon Voight?
I believe this was their last scene together where, like, Driver, at one point he talks to Aubrey Plaza, at one point he talks to Shia LaBeouf, and, like, Fishburne just wasn't there. And I was so lost. I was like, why is Lawrence Fishburne not here when, like, I feel like this is a critical moment for Lawrence Fishburne to, like, be here, just given, like, realistically. Like, I thought maybe Fishburne, like, died or got fired or something, but no, because then he showed up in the next scene.
Yeah. I think the side characters are pretty funny.
I think
that's my favorite thing. That you've got Hugh or something. He's in it. He's this random character. He's there for like 1 minute, and then he's kind of gone. Then he comes back. Pick up my hat.
Oh my
It's
god,
like
the pick up my hat thing.
It's Shia LaBeouf
That
and
was
his like
so
goons.
funny.
It's
Oh
so
my God.
random, but it was like this is fun. That was the one time I had fun. And then Sam, you had his 12-year-old Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't remember 12-year-old Sam.
You don't remember his 12-year-old Sam?
Oh, wait.
Do I look 12?
That 12-year-old Sam. Yes, I do remember that 12-year-old Sam. We can't say what happened.
That
so
part was, I would
give that
say,
away.
kind of reminiscent of like Godfather and stuff.
Yeah.
There's another where with Dustin Hoffman and Giancarlo Esposito where that was like, I thought this was like Godfather-esque, where it's like these two high, powerful people in like this world are like, you know, talking like business, like, but
yeah. I like, and I guess my other thing too is like what I did like about this film was the look of it. Aside from the VFX, I thought the visuals, like the visual effects, were not great.
Oh no!
And
no.
not great at all. But I did like the cinematography. I did like the production design, and I really liked, out of everything, I really liked what they were doing with light here. I just thought that the way that light was utilized was pretty creative with all the different colors and whatnot. And it created a genuine look for Megalopolis that was unique and interesting, and I appreciated it.
Yeah. Like, I really liked the opening scene, like where you're kind of just seeing all these like buildings and stuff, and it was like, it was kind of slow burn to really get you into this world.
Yes, yeah, I remember.
Going on. Yeah, and I liked.
Yeah.
And then the best scene I think was Adam Driver and oh my god, who plays Julia? I forget her name. I feel bad.
Natalie Emmanuel.
Yeah, it's when they're on like up like on like the roof, on like all the steel beams and stuff. And that was a really like creative idea. I was like, that made me think like, oh, maybe if this was a play or something, it would be a lot better. It would work with that kind of formatting and structuring, because maybe it like because just this as a film, I think like, what do you think of the editing? Because it was okay. There were some times where they were trying to be really creative with it, where it was kind of jarring to me.
Yeah, I also thought it was a little jarring, the editing. I think the editing was just trying to be like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if that fully worked for me. Yeah. So.
Or you can be like Adam Driver, like turning his head like in.
Oh yeah, when he was tripping out at that one point. Oh my god, it's just.
Yeah.
There's some bits here that are just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just take you out of the film. He didn't cook.
I
don't think he cooked either. 2.5 out of 5 for me.
Do you want me to say it? I think I'll bump mine from 0.5 star to 1 star.
Really?
Just,
Do you just want to not look like a hater?
Maybe, because I definitely don't want to discourage people from not seeing it. I think it is worth seeing in the movies at least once. I personally would not see it again. I think I would wait until it's somewhere on streaming, or if someone, Mattel, has it on Blu-ray or something. Yeah. Maybe I'll watch it. But I don't feel compelled at the moment to really look back or watch it again. And I think I didn't give him enough credit, Coppola, for that this was a lot of self-funding, and it was something that, because he was so persistent and determined to make this. I'll give him that.
Oh well, this is a movie of 2024 that I feel like will end up being loved in like 20 years. But right now it's not.
Yeah, so. I think we need to let it simmer for a bit. Yeah,
just get over the Megalopolis hype, and then rewatch it again, and then somehow like it, because I don't know how. But all right, well, thank you for joining today, Joe. We really appreciate it. Love talking about Megalopolis. Just
It's a fun topic. I think it's a good icebreaker.
Oh, it's
you
a
know?
great topic.
Yeah.
This is a great movie to talk about. It's like, where were you in
Where
the
w-
time of your life when you got to see Megalopolis?
Where were you when Adam Driver stopped time? Where were you?
Well, you were probably in the movie theater.
You were in New Rome.
Yeah. The movie transports you into New Rome.
Yeah.
That's right. If you don't say that you were in New Rome, then like,
You're not an actual fan.
yeah, no,
Like, get
you're
out
not.
here.
Yeah, get out. You're not an actual movie person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to be allowed to be a part of Hollywood, whether it's watching movies, directing movies, whatever you want to do in Hollywood, unless you answer that question with New Rome.
Once you leave the theater, you're gonna start analyzing everything around you.
Yes.
The lighting, the way people are talking.
Yeah, it's all you're going to be like, oh wait, we are actually living in the Roman Empire.
When that person tripped,
Yep.
it was planned all along in the script. The script called Life.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know what I meant to mean
Yeah,
by that.
I don't know where we're going now, but all right. So we'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in.